Hello, everyone. Good evening. Good evening, youth leaders. Welcome to this evening's live Q&A on UNDP's Amplifying Youth Voice and Action, a project designed to enable youth participation in decision making and your own safety and security, as well as to generate and lead your own innovative solution in addressing challenge of citizen insecurity. My name is Andre Cooper, and I am one of three interns with the United Nations Development Program Office here in Jamaica, who will be facilitating this afternoon's discussion. Today, you will learn about the project through which 10 youth-led organizations will be awarded up to $10,000 dollars in USD grants to implement community safety and security projects. You will also learn how to ensure your applications are complete so that you will have the best chance of making the final cut.
Hi everyone. Crime and violence continues to challenge Jamaica and more so the sustainable development goals and aspirations of an entire nation. We can and must believe that young people can make a difference. This is what this project is about. Greetings everyone. I am Davian Brown, Communications Intern with the United Nations Development Program Multi-Country Office in Jamaica. I'm your co-host for this evening, and today we are joined by my colleague and fellow UNDP intern, Daverine Dinner, who worked on the Amplifying Youth Voice and Action project, providing important insight and contributions to the final project. She'll be giving a brief presentation on the project, after which the floor will be open for all and any questions. Daverine, the floor is now yours.
Hello, everyone. Thank you all for joining us tonight. You guys evidently have a passion for youth engagement and development. So I'm really happy that you guys, came out to participate. Let me share my screen and we will begin. Okay. So, as the title suggests, here's a snapshot, right? And the topic or the title of the presentation is Amplifying Youth Voice and Action to Address Citizens' Safety and Security. The project tentative end date is this September 2021. And the target population, of course, are you young people, across Jamaica, especially from vulnerable communities. The purpose of the project is to provide young persons with the opportunity to strengthen their capacity in advocacy and community development. We also wish that you guys will identify and address systematic as well as institutional barriers at the local and national level for youth participation. We also want to facilitate youths being able to contribute to policy and decision-making process. All things UN has to do with the SDGs. I'm sure many of you are familiar with them, right? But for this project specifically, we will be looking at Goal 11, Sustainable Cities and Communities. Goal number 8, Decent Work and Economic Growth. Goal number 17, Partnerships for the Goals. Goal number 16, Justice, Peace, Justice, and Strong Institutions. So the project comprises of two main outputs, right? The first output is about strengthening the mechanisms that enable youth participation in decision-making and actions to address citizens' security and safety. Under this output, you guys will be experiencing the incubator period, internships, and research. We will address the incubator and internships as we go along, and there is also a research component to the project. So when you talk about the incubator approach, this is where we wish to nurture, enhance capacity, maximize opportunities, mitigate risk, and unleash the potential of 10 to 15 youth-led organizations. And right here we have 10 to 15 because we want this project to be impactful. So we hope that we can engage more than the amount of youths we intend to engage, right? And the Incubator Coalition will help to design a comprehensive and flexible capacity building curriculum that can be later tailored to meet the specific needs of each entity, right? For those of you who would have applied to be a part of the project, you can recall that there is a question that asks specifically for capacity areas that you wish to be more developed in or strengthened, right? So by the end of that application process, we will see the priority areas for our young persons and see how best we can assist. Some of the topics we plan to capture in the incubator approach includes exploring the SDGs and national development plans such as Vision 2030, understanding citizens' safety and security, because it is such a broad topic, but is also very inclusive, right? We hope that we can talk about project development and implementation, communication and visibility, marketing and branding, fundraising, and the method of delivery for the incubator period. We are still, not to say up in arms, but we are waiting to see how best we can facilitate the young people who were successful in applying for this grant. So we might do a blended approach, right? By face-to-face sessions and webinars as well. The orientation, we hope to begin by the end of February, right? And the deadline is this Friday at 11:59 p.m. Please to submit all supporting documents to the email address on the screen, right? I noticed that a lot of persons have applied, but the supporting documents, which are namely a registration certificate, if it is that your youth group is a formally registered organization, and a letter of recommendation, right? And this again is all in the application form when you click the link that was shared, right? So please remember to submit all supporting documents. Without that, your application is incomplete, right? Let me repeat. Without submitting your supporting documents to the email address on the screen, your application will be incomplete. And all of this should be sent by this Friday, February 5th, by 11:59 p.m., right? We hope to get in contact or notify the successful groups by the 26th of February. The second output now talks about the micro projects, right? It is how we have empowered young people to implement innovative and sustainable solutions for citizens' safety and security. As you all would have known by now, each successful group will be awarded a grant valuing 10,000 US dollars, right, to implement and monitor their micro projects. Grants will be channeled through a local NGO. That is what we term as an ungranting process. So UNDP will get a very legitimate and reliable NGO to give the funds to, and they will then disperse the grants to the successful youth-led organizations, right? The NGO is also responsible for supporting the Incubator Coalition and will provide mentorship, technical oversight, and monitoring support towards the successful implementation of the projects. We want you guys, right? UNDP, we do not want to limit the types of micro projects you guys come up with. And because of that, we encourage creativity, right? And responsiveness to the local context in addressing citizens' safety and security. Because citizen safety and security is so broad, you are encouraged to look at projects, for example, in education, healthcare, violence, climate change, anything that might threaten the safety and security of citizens. We want you guys to have multiplier effects, meaning these projects can be a continuation of some of the works that you guys have already been doing in your community, right? We want you guys to be so empowered that even when this project is finished, you will continue the work or probably upscale, who knows, right? The incubator is there to strategically build the capacity to elaborate and implement the micro projects using the money awarded, right? Also, a little sweet deal we threw into the project is that 3 youth members will be selected from the incubator and provided with paid internships within the UNDP organization, right? It is a great opportunity to link work on the ground to policy level interventions and capacity strengthening. I started as an intern with the UNDP and I am now a consultant. Yes. So further details on the internships will be provided during the incubator approach. And that's the end of the presentation. Do we have any questions?
All right, thank you so much for that very brief and also informative overview of the project, Davarine. I've went ahead to drop 2 links in the chat, the one that captures the project, also the application link. So I'm imploring our young youth leaders and innovators to go ahead, click on these links, access the information, and start your application process today. Remember, the application closes off this Friday, February 5th at 11:59 p.m. So the floor is now open for your questions and also comments. Please raise your hand and indicate if you have something to say, and also please let us know your name and the organization that you're representing this afternoon. So the floor is now open to you guys. We look forward to hearing what's rumbling in your minds. So go ahead.
I'm seeing where Neville and some questions are being, sent in chat. Okay. Just unmute your mic once you're, acknowledged and go ahead.
All right, so good night, everyone. Quick question. The capacity building sessions, is it for the specific lead or is it for members within the organization?
Sorry, Neville, could you please tell us who you are and the organization you're representing, and then you jump right into the question that you have for us, right?
My bad. So, Neville Charlton, YIPC Youth Influence Positive PGA Limited, popularly known as Positive Arc. My question tonight is the capacity building. I know there were about 10 years capacity building, which would fit in perfectly for specific members of the organization. Are those capacity building sessions specifically for the lead person of the project, or is it that selected members from the organization can attend these capacity building sessions?
Thank you for that lovely question, Neville. I'm really happy you asked that question because while we will be selecting 10 youth groups, right? Each group is required to participate or suggest 2 to 5 members from their organization, right? So you will have the opportunity to suggest members from the organization to participate in the incubator approach. It depends on the session. Some sessions we might be able to facilitate and accommodate more than the 2 to 5 selected persons. And because we want this project to impact as many young persons as possible, the organization may rotate individuals that they send to the training, right? But that is to note that each training session is a build-up of what was done before. For example, let's say there is a session on marketing and branding, right? But we split it into 2 different sessions. It wouldn't be wise for you to send 3 persons to the first session and send a completely different set to the second session. You get what I'm saying? There will be a lot of gaps there to fill. But before each session, we will be sending out the topics for the organizations to select their persons and send. Jermaine, go ahead.
Yes, I'm seeing Jermaine.
Hi, good evening. Are you hearing me?
Good
Yes, we are.
evening,
All right, excellent. Excellent. I'm Jermaine Barrett, representing the Jamaican Association for Debating and Empowerment. And I have two questions. Firstly, in drafting the summary or the basic essence of the proposal that I would undertake, I indicated that the timeline by which I would implement this project would be about December. Now, I was just informed by yourself that the project is estimated to come to a conclusion around September. We are prepared to adjust our timelines to meet with the expected timeline end for the project. And so, but we're wondering, how do we communicate that to you so that our project or our proposal rather can still be considered? That's one. And two, I received an email that invited me to this session that indicated, it might have just been a generic email, but it said that we are supposed to go about submitting the documentation to accompany the application. I have submitted the documentation, but I was just wanting to know, how do I go about confirming that the documents that I have submitted have in fact been received?
Okay, let me start with your last question. I will check that process and respond or acknowledge, confirm receipt of those submitted documents, right?
Mm-hmm.
To answer your first question, which is perfect, I was actually hoping you guys would ask some of these questions. So we plan to spend at least 2 months on the incubator period, right? Where we build the capacity with the theoretical training per se. We do not expect that your proposed micro projects are set in stone, right? We want to literally see a change, or where after coming out of the incubator period, you guys go back and you tweak and you improve your proposed projects, right? And we are very flexible. The program is youth centric. So UNDP is not packaging something and handing it out to you. It's not set in stone. We are trying to see how best we can facilitate and accommodate the ideas of young persons. Hope that answer your question, Jermaine.
It does. It does clarify tremendously. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm seeing Terry Lollis Barrett. You can go ahead.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Terry Lollis Barrett. I'm from the Evermickle Foundation. My question for you today, I have several actually, but you answered some of them prior. So, what are the characteristics of the organization who would be the ideal candidate for this grant?
Ideal characteristics. Whoa. We are just looking for young persons who are passionate about, making an impact on society, not afraid to lead the change they want to see. If that's the direction, you plan on going, we are looking for young persons who are vibrant, willing, and ready to learn, because the opportunities are there, right? They exist. So what we hope to do is see how best we can facilitate this process. So as long as you're a youth-led organization that is passionate about the work you're doing, you're able to convey that passion in the application. From you guys are, I just don't know how else to say it, young persons, young people these days, we should literally, I believe, move from behind the screens, if you get what I'm saying. We need to be underground, we need to be actively engaged, and not just being, somebody with a title. Society need to feel the contribution that young persons have to offer.
Okay, one more question. It's a two-parter. So, what inspired the UNDP to come up with this initiative? And also, what are your end goals for this project?
What inspired UNDP to do this project? Okay, I'm hoping that you would know what the UNDP stands for. It's a very inclusive and far-reaching organization that we try to reach every aspect of society. So this project is to cater specifically to young persons. Okay, we look at the disabled, we look at persons living with, HIV, AIDS, we have projects on climate change, but who pays attention to the younger voice, which is the future, right? So that is how this project came about. Remind me of your next question, please.
What is your expected end result for the project, the outcome? What do you guys want to achieve with this project or initiative?
As stated in the outputs, right, we want to build the capacity of young persons. And that's why for the incubator approach, we are trying to see how much, if we can build more than just the 10 groups, right? If we can impact and build the capacity of young persons so that when it comes for them to implement these micro projects, they are armed with the correct knowledge and know-how and the best practices to go ahead and do this, right? The micro projects that will be implemented by the 10 selected youth groups will undoubtedly speak for themselves, right? The impact that each project has is, I just use your imagination. Just use your imagination, because after we build the capacity, it's like we are adding the practical to the theoretical that you were given.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, I'm seeing Adrian Watson.
Hi, good day. I'm Adrian Watson from Gene. I wanted to find out a little bit more clearly what you define as youth, as per the age. Is it the the one prescribed in the Jamaican policy to be 18 to 29, or are you using the broader UN 18 to 35? That's question number one. And the second question would be, does the youth group have to be registered? Because I know that that is a challenge for most youth groups. I led one for many years that wasn't registered, but they did great work. And so those are the two pertinent questions I have.
Okay, thanks for that question, Adrian. We are working with the 18 to 29. We are working with the 18 to 29 youth group. And for your second question, kindly remind me what that question was.
Basically, it is if they are registered, if the youth group has to be registered.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, and I have one more follow up, but I'll let you answer that first.
All right. For the registration question that you were asked on the application form, you do not have to be a registered youth group. Why we ask that question is that we hope to assist young organizations in formalizing themselves. So it's good for those who applied and are registered, but by the end of the project, we want to help those who aren't registered to get that process going, to formalize themselves.
Thanks very much. That answers pretty much it. The follow up I wanted to ask though is my organization has about 7 board members, 2 of which are above the age range. If I allow my other board members to apply, because we're all under the age of 35, would that be allowed? And if allowed, would we be able to include in the project or registration evaluation? And that's it for me.
Okay, that was a loaded question. I would definitely have to get back to you on that one. I will take your information and definitely try to address your question after some consultations. All right, Adrian?
Yes, thanks. That's it from me.
Yes. Okay, no problem.
Right, thank you very much, Adrian. I'm seeing Renee Bromfield, if I pronounced that correctly.
Hi, good afternoon. So, my question is similar to Adrian's. So, all I'm asking is if, when you find out those information regarding persons who are on the board that are above age 29, could you also share that information with me as well?
All right. Thanks
Because
again.
I have a similar situation.
Okay, thanks again for that question. When we have finished the consultation process, what we will do is that when we have come to a decision, we will ensure that it is shared on UNDP's platform so that everyone will have access to the information. You can also send your
Okay. All right, thank
concern
you.
via the Amplifying Youth Voice email address. That's
Driving.
AVYAJA.
Hold,
Oh, you're
I'm
driving.
driving.
Okay.
Hold on there. Yes.
Okay, don't worry, don't worry. It's on the application form, it's on the flyer we shared, and it can be found on the UNDP page. So whenever you get the chance to check, you can. All right, Renee, be safe.
Okay. All right, then thank you. All right,
Yeah.
thanks. All right, thanks.
Thank you very much, Renee. I'm seeing Jermaine Barrett.
I'm sorry. The question I had in mind was just answered a short while ago. I really should have lowered my hand. Sorry about that.
Okay, no
All right,
problem.
thank you very much, Jermaine. Neville Charlton.
All right, so good night again, everyone. It's a two-part question. The first part was, I think it was Miss Garner, alluded to the NGO. Is it a thing where the NGO will send the funds to the bank accounts? Say for example, I have my registered NGO and we have a registered account, or is it a situation where the NGO will pay for our suppliers? That's question number one. Um, question number
Neville,
two
you're
is,
breaking up.
okay, can you hear me?
Right. So
Yeah.
I don't know if it was the same thing.
So, you want me to repeat the first question?
No, I got the first question.
Okay. And the
So for
second,
the, oh,
no,
you
go
want me
ahead,
to,
go ahead. I asked
okay.
after you answer.
So with the ungranting process, right, when we give the NGO the money and this $10,000 USD, it will be converted to JMD, right? And it would be fine-tuned in the ungranting stage. So it would be worked out between the NGOs and the selected youth groups. All right,
Okay.
Neville?
All right. And the question, I never heard you make just for clarification of the monitoring and evaluation of the funds. Will there be a template that we can use just for transparency and accountability that we can use to input how each money was spent on the project?
Oh, definitely, definitely. That's the supporting role of the NGO, and UNDP and the coalition will also be involved in the process. So there will be transparency, there will be accountability. And when we reach that bridge in the ungranting stage, all those questions will be cleared up and answered by then. Because I am not sure if all the youth groups would have bank accounts, right? UNDP is not giving the money directly to the youth groups. So when we reach that stage, the ungranting phase of the project, all those questions will be cleared up. All right. Okay, no problem. He answered in the chat. Go ahead. Next question.
Okay, I'm seeing Abigail Batik.
Hi, everyone. Good night. I represent the Every Maker Foundation. So just a little question. So for the grant, for the project, will we be able to join that grant with another grant in order to carry out our micro project, or should it be fully funded by your grant?
Meaning you will be merging funds that already exist? I'm not clear on your question.
Well, as if the project costs more than the 10,000 US dollars, will we be able to say source or just find funding for the project by other
Okay,
means?
thanks for that question. That's a good question. You see, in the incubator period of the project, right, there will also be a curriculum on project management where we help you to, fine tune your proposal, create action plans, and that will be done according to the awarded grants budget. So you might have a grand idea, but for the purposes of this project, what we will do is start with a $10,000 USD budget, And who knows, probably after the, after, when we ended the project, you guys can decide to upscale and apply to get grant and, do your project on a grander scale.
Okay, yes, I understand. Thanks.
Okay, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, Abigail. I'm seeing Jermaine Barrett.
Okay, thank you very much for accepting this question. Well, first of all, an observation. I recall somebody asked a question about what sorts of organization have been looked for. I recall in the application it spoke as well to that you must be an organization that has a passion with respect to the SDGs as well as Vision 2030, I think. So I just thought that that might also help. But also, I just want to find out if you could help me to understand a little bit more about the vetting process, in that I think the application process, albeit a small grant, so you would expect that it's not a cumbersome process, but it didn't shed a significant amount of light as it relates to what exactly is being looked for and also what exactly might cause you not to be deemed acceptable as an organization. And I ask this from the perspective of an organization like mine that has not applied for many grants. So I think packed into that question as well is the question as to whether or not we would be, assuming we don't get through, would we be communicated with, or is it a case where if we don't hear from a UNDP, then we are to assume that we haven't gotten through?
Okay, thanks for that very loaded question, Jermaine. Let me see how much I can, break it down
Yes.
for you. So we ask that you submit your supporting documents, right? And these supporting documents include the registration certificate, that's if you guys are formalized. And the second one is a recommendation letter, right? That recommendation letter should speak to the character of the organization. So that's that bit, right? Please remember to email them, guys. Many of the organizations did not. All right. So when it comes on to to the scoring of the applications, we want to see how best this project can be of impact to young persons. So no, we are not looking for a group that has, years of experience in implementing projects or grant. It is good to have that experience, but we are also considerate that there are organizations or youth groups out there that really just need their capacity strengthened in areas such as project implementation, right? So it is not set in stone where we're looking for the best of the best. It's how the case is presented to us. How did the organization sell itself in the application process? Are you a group, as I said, is the group passionate? Is that being conveyed in the application, right? Is it a case where the group has been doing tremendous work and they just need the financial support to continue the work that they have been doing? We will consider a group like that, right? Consider a youth group that just started up, little experience, but they are willing to learn. Again, that is something we will consider in the process. We will also notify all the groups who have applied via email whether they were successful or not successful at the close of the application period. That answers all your questions.
Very, very comprehensive responses. Thank you.
You're welcome, Jermaine.
Thanks, Jermaine. I'm seeing Neville again. You can go ahead, Neville.
All right, so this is my final question. In regards to, I think someone had made mention of it earlier. So the $10,000 grant, but it's not, let's say, supposed to have other sponsors or partners. Let's say we're keeping a community a training, and Grace Kennedy, we think I wanted to come on board and give us water, juice, or keeping a training session. However, we looking at how we can stretch the budget, and let's say a hotel would host, I'll give us a space to do the workshop. is that okay to get other partners and sponsors on board, or that would have to come back to the incubator process?
Thanks for that question, Neville. Remember that your micro projects, they are not set in stone, right? We will be working on the fine-tuning the micro projects to fit in that $10,000 bracket, right? But it is also good to have sponsors in mind. We will also be teaching you guys how to write grants. So because there is also a sustainability component to your micro projects, right? So when you have utilized that 10,000 USD, you guys should be able to apply for grant, know how to develop partnerships and source funds, right, from private sector or government to continue the your micro projects. It is the project will not limit the youth groups, right? It's we as I said earlier, we are trying to see how best we can facilitate your needs. So if it is that while you guys are executing your micro projects, we came up on a roadblock that we did not possibly foresee while we were doing the incubator project, we can always go back to the drawing board and see how best we can mitigate those risks.
Okay,
That
thank
answer
you.
your question? All right. Any other question? Let me.
Yes, at this time, are there any
And
other
so,
questions?
right, so there are some questions in the chat. I'm just going to go ahead and read them so Davarin can respond. So there was one just, well, a few minutes ago from Darren Bent. He says he's unclear of whether there are expected to be limits around the activities under the project qualify as an expense. I think what he's asking if there are limitations to what activities youth group, selected youth group can undertake on this project. So if you
No,
provide some clarity on that for him, please.
no, there is no limit. As I said in the presentation, we want to encourage and facilitate creative and innovative ideas. So we are not going to try to put a cap on you guys' imaginations. That's the purpose of the project, to see what is it that young people want to do and how best we can give them a platform to facilitate this dream.
I hope that was I hope she responded to your question well. But there was one earlier from Damore McQueen. He was asking if you could forward your doc that he's referring to your presentation. He'd greatly appreciate it. So I don't know if
Repeat, you're breaking up.
I'm so sorry. So Damar McQueen, earlier he asked in the chat if you could share. I think he's referring you to your presentation. If you could share that with him, we would greatly appreciate it.
I will get back to you on that one. I will get back to you on that one. But as I said, the email, you can always send your concerns and query to the email address. I will leave it in the chat. So if it is you have a burning question, we will get back to you as soon as possible. I'm seeing where Adrian Watson asked if when we'll post the answers to the questions. Okay, we will get back to you before the deadline. We will get back to you before the deadline, definitely, because we understand how our response can affect your application status. I get you, Andre.
So I'm seeing another question from Mishka Spence. She's saying she's representing the youth group at her church. Not sure which church is this. Could you, if you want to speak, Mishka, you could just raise your hand and clarify for us. But she's asking, how do we go about this project? I think you said this, but I don't know if you want to reiterate for her, as she don't quite understand the process. So I think Mishka joined late, so I don't know if you can just quickly give her an overview of how she can go about application. But Mishka, if you check in the chat, you'll realize that I sent the link for the application not too long ago, so you can access it and apprise yourself of that information and see how best you can go about applying for this. Tabarin can go ahead and provide.
Yes. It's great to have a church group among us. As I said earlier, UNDP is about inclusivity, right? We are looking for young people from churches, from political organizations, from civil society. If your interest is in climate change, debate, education, all sectors across Jamaica, we are open as long as it is a youth-led group. Hope that answers your question, Mishka. And as Andre said, the link to the application form is in the chat.
Right. So she texted just now in the chat. Let me see. So there's another question from Letitia White. What if an organization's registration certificate is not renewed?
That's okay. That question, we are not holding anyone fast to the registration. We just want to have an idea of how many of the groups that applied are registered, because we plan on assisting those who aren't registered in formalizing their youth groups. So you can either go ahead and re-register before the training, or you can wait until after the training to see if our tips or hints can, facilitate the process better. But it doesn't matter if your registration certificate is expired or you don't have one.
So Zing Lin, I hope I pronounced your name correctly. But you can go ahead and speak. The floor is yours. Please go ahead, introduce yourself and the organization that you're representing. So go ahead, the floor is all yours.
My name is Yin Ling, and I'm representing the Evermickle Foundation. Do you guys have a contact that we could, call?
No, we don't have a number at this point, but what we do have is a working email address. So I will share that in the group with you guys. And as I said, feel free to share your comments and concerns, all right? So I just shared the email address in the chat for you guys to see.
All right, I'm seeing Adrian Watson.
Dalton sent that question earlier. He
Yes.
says, president of the Norwood Development Committee. I have to type my question in the chat as my microphone is not working. All right, go ahead, Dalton, share with us the question and we'll respond. Davary will respond. So go ahead. So in the meantime, Adrian, we see your hand up, so we can go ahead.
Yes, this question popped into mind a while ago. Who should be giving the organization the recommendation? Can it be a partner organization that we've worked with before, or does it need to be like a beneficiary of one of our programs or project, etc.?
No. So when you look at the application form, the suggested persons are your usual Jamaican persons for recommendations letter, right? A justice of the peace, a pastor. You have the person from your youth empowerment officer from the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information. Those are the person. It's on the application form, so you can double check. And it's also in the email I sent to those who would have applied.
I haven't applied it. I just found the information yesterday. So
Okay. Well, it's in the application form. That cute little verb, that paragraph there, yes, it's there.
Zing your hand up. We didn't get your organization earlier. Could you just open back your mic and share with us the organization that you're representing, please?
Yes, I'm from Evermickle Foundation.
Thank you very much, Zing Lin. Did you have an additional question?
Hello. Oh no,
Are you hearing me?
No.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for that.
So I'm seeing where Dalton in the chat
yes
asked about elaboration on the internships the internships, the 3 persons will be selected from the incubator phase, right? So the internships will be given to persons who are a part of the 10 youth groups selected. It will be a competitive process where we will do a TOR, which is a terms of reference, and we will advertise it, and they will be persons in incubator approach will be invited to apply, and we will do the evaluation process and get back to the successful interns. It is a paid internship. We want to run the internship during the summer period because we understand that as young persons, because I'm a young person myself, we do have school and a lot of us, some of us work. So we want to have the internships during the summer period where, you know, it wouldn't disadvantage anyone. Hope that answered your question, Dalton.
Okay. Yes, hope that answered the question. We're going to take Adrian Watson next. Adrian, you can go ahead and speak.
Oh, sorry. No, I left my hand up. Let me just pass it
Oh,
to the other person.
okay. All right, I'm seeing Renee. Renee, you can go ahead. Renee. Okay.
You're not here. Are you hearing me now?
Yes, we are.
Yes, we are.
Okay. All right. So I was saying, Adrian asked a question as it relates to who the recommendation letter is supposed to come from. I didn't hear your answer because my internet went. So I'm just kind of asking you to just repeat for me.
The persons who we expect the recommendation letter to come from, again, it's on the application form, that short paragraph before you begin answering questions. They are, you know, the normal persons, the expected persons by society, Jamaican society, right? Which is justice of the peace, a principal, a pastor, or the youth empowerment officer from the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information.
Okay, great. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, are there any other questions at this time? All right, I'm seeing Ashley Robinson. Ashley, you can go ahead.
Hi, good afternoon. So Ashley Robinson from Advocate for Change Jamaica. We had actually received some forms to say that we had applied. I really appreciate that. The question is, when looking at citizen safety, is there anything specifically that you want to pinpoint or anything that the UNDP is specifically interested in, except perhaps the sustainable development goals? But is there, besides for the criteria, because UNDP and UN criteria tend to be very wide ranging, what would be the best thing to include in our applications when filling these forms out?
Thanks for that loaded question, Ashley. Um, as I said before, there are no limits to the type of projects you guys wish to implement. In the presentation, I had suggested 4 specific SDGs that, you know, the project is looking at. But when we think or just, you know, brainstorm what comes to mind when we talk about citizen safety and security, it is very broad. And it being very broad means it's very inclusive. And we strategically did that because we didn't want to limit the innovative and creative ideas put forward by the young persons. So if it is that your organization focuses on climate change, or, you know, availability of water or electricity per se, whatever it is that your organization mission is about, I'm sure it will fit under citizen safety and security. It's just how you present your ideas in the application form that will give you the upper hand Are we understanding where this person is going with this project? How does it link to the Sustainable Development Goals? How does this micro project link to the National Development Goal, which is Vision 2030? And when you look at how the Sustainable Development Goals are framed, they are very inclusive. Literally anything you can think of, it just automatically falls under one of the goals, right? And it fits into the National Development Plan of Jamaica.
Understood. I appreciate that. Also, we did have a query with our specific application. Could I reach out to one of you specifically after this?
We shared the email address in the chat, so you can send your queries to that email address and we will respond as soon as possible before the deadline.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much, Ashley. I'm seeing Demar Swaby. Demar, you can go ahead. Demar? Okay. All right.
How will chosen groups be monitored? Okay, that's okay. That's okay, Demar. So he asked the question, how will the chosen groups be monitored? There is a coalition set up for the project. They will be responsible for your, capacity building curriculum. And there is also an NGO that will be recruited for the duration of this project. So between UNDP, the coalition, and the selected NGO, that's how the micro projects will be monitored. You guys will have guidance along the way at every step of the way. If you have a concern, you can always reach out to us and we will assist you. Remember, this project wants to see young people win. Hence why it is not set in stone. I cannot stress that enough. This project is so flexible, so adaptive to the needs and concerns of young persons. And when we were conceptualizing this project, we did it in a way that is not a case where UNDP is handing something that's already, doctored and set in stone for young people to do. No, we want the young people to be empowered to execute things on their own. And we're doing it in such a way that even when the project closes, we want to see how best you guys can sustain yourselves. That's why we're helping you register your organizations. That's why we're helping you learn how to write proposal, how to apply for grants, how to get, sponsorship and partnership with private sector or other organizations. Improve and build on your network, essentially. Okay, Demar, I hope that answers your question.
I'm hoping that answers the question. All right. I'm seeing one other question in the chat. Can an organization resubmit an application?
I would say you can, because I am sure after this interactive session tonight, you guys would have learned a lot. So you will want to go back and fine tune a lot. The application period is still open. It closes this Friday. So if you feel the need to go back and strengthen your chance of being a successfully chosen youth group, be my guest. Be my guest. We want to see you win.
Definitely. Great. I'm not seeing any other questions at this time. Davarine, is there anything you'd like to leave with us in closing today?
Apart from UNDP wanting to see young people win, I want to see young people win. I am familiar with the Youth Leadership Network in Jamaica, and as someone who not only participated in a lot of youth-led initiatives and youth leadership stuff, I was a youth parliamentarian. The platform that UNDP has provided young people in Jamaica is compared to none. It is compared to none. because as a young person, we lack funding opportunities. And a lot of you guys, because you have your youth organizations, you would understand what I mean when we say the money tight, the money not there. So we have a lot of bright ideas, but we are not able to execute. And sometimes even if we can execute, we might not execute properly because we lack the knowledge, we lack the capacity to execute. So just give it your best shot. Give it your best shot. And I appreciate the inclusion of youth in the conceptualization and implementation of this project. I am a young person who is literally working day to day on this project. So I literally represent young people across Jamaica. So I am there to ensure that your needs or your suggestions are being met. So I really look forward to see the applications that come in and the micro projects. I am just excited to see, how this will all play out. So go back to the drawing board, give your application the best shot you can. There's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. Yes. So all the best, guys. Thanks again for your interest. Thanks again for your interest. I noted how many applications we got within the first week, and I must say that the team was blown away. We were just, yeah, young people. We're really interested in making a change in society, and that was really impressive. So keep the fire burning. That's it.
All right. Thank you very much, Davarine. It was a pleasure. Andre, are you still there? Right. I believe Andre might be having some technical issues this evening. All right. So I'd like to take this opportunity to thank each and every one of you who attended our live Q&A session. I also want us to use this opportunity to implore you all to access the link that was shared in the chat section. We'll reshare it before we leave. And also, for those who haven't registered as yet, please go ahead and do so before the deadline this Friday, 11:15, guys. Also,
And
remember
please,
to submit the, what's
yes,
that?
the supporting documents. Submit the
Indeed, the
supporting
supporting
documents.
documents.
So your
Definitely,
application is complete, guys.
definitely.
We need you guys to get this, okay? So please complete your applications by submitting all supporting documents by 11:59 on this coming Friday, February 5th.
Indeed. So I also want to remind you guys to stay vigilant, stay safe, um, take care of yourselves during this difficult time, and continue to practice social and physical distancing. Wear your mask and always sanitize. We look forward to working with you, future leaders, and on building a safer and more secure Jamaica. Finally, remember to follow us on all platforms at UNDP Jamaica. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we will share the links shortly.
Okay. Bye, everyone. Thanks for coming out.